Just like, I've been to Amsterdam, but that's not one of the things that I came back with. Like, there's the foot fetish, and I really like people's belly buttons now, but mucus,
I fucking hate people's belly buttons. They always
really?
smell. Are you already recording, by the way?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll probably use some of this footage as well if you include
Of course
it.
you will.
Welcome, you sexy little pixels, to another crazy episode of Trailer Talk. 2 months after the first one, it's me, Papersharps. I am back, and today I am accompanied by the Grandmaster of Darkness and occasionally my whipping master, Larry the Chupacabra. How are you doing, Larry?
Am I like the evil Sith Lord from the new episode 7 now, Sharps? What is going on now? Well, hello everybody, I'm Larry, the most delectable Chupacabra man. And I do some of the other videos here on Feed Me Pixels, and I'll be joining you all for another adventure in trailer talking today. I've never seduced a trailer before, but hey, I'm willing to give it a shot. I've got my D&D character sheet ready. I've got 19 charisma. I think we've got a pretty good shot.
What are we going to talk about today, Larry?
All right, so we have a few trailers up on the docket. We're looking at Horizon Zero Dawn, the
Oh,
latest
yeah,
Mass Effect trailer, which is like 4K, and then something that Donkey made fun of called the Grush.
the gaming toothbrush. And also Zelda, Breath of the Wild, with the latest trailer which came out with the Nintendo Switch talkie talks from 2 weeks ago. Let's just start with the most fun one. Let's just start with the gaming toothbrush Donkey made fun of. And
Boy, you know what every kid has always wanted for their birthday? A gaming toothbrush, because they can tell all their friends and then not have friends anymore, so they can spend more time with the Grush, keeping that filthy gingivitis out of their mouth.
the first time I heard that name, Grush, I was like, this sounds like a classic rock band or something. How did they come up with the fucking name?
It was either a classic rock band or a porn star that was trying to go a little too PC and be like the world's first family friendly porn star. Oh man, and like there's a 4-minute version of this up on
Mhm.
their YouTube page where they have like these kids that are clearly been like coerced or brainwashed who are like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to go play with the Grush. Oh, I gotta stop the cavity creeps." Wait, no, Timmy, don't say cavity creeps. We don't own that copyright. Ah, shit, DMCA takedown notice.
Whoops! I really, really laughed so hard at that longer video we're talking about when some kind of Asian dude came on and was like, I've been developing for blah blah blah. And I was like, wait, am I looking at something new from Nintendo, like Wii Music or something? I was like, oh no, wait, it's not Nintendo, but it surely could have been Nintendo.
Oh, and you know what? This really reminds me. There was a product that they had back in the 90s, and it was the rock and roll toothbrush. You can probably look this up. Let's see if we can find it. The rock and roll toothbrush. And what this was, it was the idea was sort of similar to get your kids to brush their teeth. There was a toothbrush that could like oscillate the music into your teeth so you heard the music reverberating through your skull and brainwashing you slowly. And I remember a bunch of my friends had these that their parents bought for them. And because they required a special type of watch battery, they all had a dead one in a drawer somewhere that no one talked about. It was their family's hidden shame.
It sounds pretty satanic, to be honest.
Well, it was
Some
just
qu-
like the Sonic Hair toothbrush, because it's like it was supposed to do the song just long enough so that you'd finish
Mhm.
brushing your teeth and then you could go your ass to bed.
Yeah, there were a couple of questions I had though after seeing this gaming toothbrush thing, like some serious questions. The first one was, if you can't get your kid off his game to brush his teeth, you might want to consider your parenting skills, not getting a fucking game for a toothbrush.
I mean, when my parents wanted me to brush my teeth, A, there was a lot of yelling, and B,
Mhm.
there were threats of that N64 going out the window and being smashed with a rock 17 times. So,
Exactly, and that actually worked, didn't it?
yes, it did. Funny enough, threatening your children is the perfect way to parent. That is the Chupacabra pro tips on parenting's threaten your children with
Do you
violence
need to
against their video games. You're teaching them good parenting skills with that latest Call of Duty.
Oh god, it reminds me so much. You've probably seen this in the past as well. The video where the dad uses his tractor or something or his lawnmower to go over and just fuck up all the Xbox games of some dude, and he just messes all the discs up, and the kid just throws a the biggest tantrum ever. You can't not help but feel bad for him, but also the reaction is kind of funny in a Schadenfreude kind of way.
Was
You
this
ever seen that one?
360 or Xbox One?
I think it was Xbox 360 games.
Okay, because like
It's a pretty
Xbox
old
One, you're
video.
like, it would be like 3 discs, and you're like, I've already got them on the freaking console. It's locked in a room you can't get to. So I can just
That's
re-download them,
true.
pops. You can try again next week, and then you just go back inside, and then he just like leans over sad on his lawnmower, like I'm a terrible father.
That will be the 2017 version where the dad throws a tantrum like you motherfucker.
I'm surprised that this. So this was also featured on the show Shark Tank, and if you
Hmm.
don't know the show Shark Tank, it's where you walk up and they push you into a tank. No, not a tank of sharks, but they have a bunch of business investors who I guess can tell whether or not something's a good idea. But I didn't look if this got backed by Shark Tank, but boy, I sure hope it did because it is the sort of thing that they would think would sell, and then a bunch of parents would think would help their kids brush their teeth, and it would be an abysmal failure, like right off the bat. Because if you watch the longer version, why don't you load up the longer version real quick? Oh my gosh, have you ever thought to yourself, boy, I wish my children would toothbrush as hard as they video game?
Do you see your finger go like no, you're not doing it right. No, this is a commercial. Brush harder.
I also like how right here in this scene, they spent all that money getting an actress and some child from Craigslist to do a well lit scene. And then this dude just grabs like a desk lamp and a smartphone and records in the back of his shop, like, we invented the Grush, which stands for gaming toothbrush. You could just say it's a gaming toothbrush, man. You don't gotta lead me in so hard. You're not
Yeah.
fooling anyone. And so there's the idea is this has got like an accelerometer or something to tell where the tip of it is. Adjust the tip so you
Hmm.
can destroy the cavity creeps in the mobile game that hooks up to the phone.
See,
And
when I saw this, I was like, okay, I can see how this is fun, but still, is it necessary? Just sell it as a game, man. Not like as if you need it for a kid.
yeah, because I want to destroy the cavity creeps with my cavity blaster
Yeah.
in my brush. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, they had these terrible videos on VHS they gave out for free at the dentist's office called Timmy the Tooth.
Oh, that's where you get the Timmy from, huh?
Probably actually, because I think Timmy got abused by the cavity creeps every episode. Timmy was scarred and had PTSD. But I think my absolute favorite is they talk in one of these videos about how they want to make a toothbrushing MMO. Like you're gonna
Oh
spend
yeah.
enough time brushing your teeth and destroying your gum line with excess brushing to play an MMO in the bathroom.
I think it's in one of the donkey segments. I'll
It
load up the
is.
donkey one
It's
after this.
amazing. Oh,
You
it's
get the
the
donkey one.
best thing in the universe. And they make it seem like it's the best thing ever. You can monitor your kids' toothbrushing metrics, and then your dentist can go, why did you buy this? What did you just hand me? This means nothing. Your child has no gums anymore.
That
Stop
was
buying stupid crap.
that was one of the things that popped in my head. It was like track brushing habits. What the actual fuck? Valuable data for dentists? What? They need more data besides your regular checkups?
Like my dentist has never looked in my mouth and me handed him a spreadsheet and believed that I brushed when I didn't. He's just gonna be like, your mouth is very clean, Larry. You can go.
Here, this is the dude that made me wonder if this is a new Nintendo thing, because they are as cringeworthy with some of their new stuff as well. It's like,
That
oh.
that little child just smacks of Stockholm syndrome. You can have your Xbox back when you're done brushing your teeth, Billy.
Yeah.
Oh, this thing's amazing. Also, the last thing I thought about was, isn't it great to stimulate your child's mind with a game, an interactive puzzling medium, right before bed when they're supposed to shut their brain off and go to sleep? I'm sure that won't backfire.
Exactly. I was always in the past, well, when I was really young, I probably tried to play after 9 or after 10, but at some point when I was like 15 to 16, it was like, I kind of don't want to play a game anymore after 9 o'clock in the evening because I need to go into, a modus to tune myself down and go to sleep.
Yeah, we all have to grow up sometime, Sharps. Sometimes it just takes, going to Hollywood, meeting Robin Williams, then saying to yourself, maybe 13 hours of genie jokes was too much.
Okay, you got me. It was 20 when I, for the first time, thought I shouldn't game after 9. But still,
All right, but yeah, so what's next on the docket? What did you want to throw up next?
let me get the Mass Effect Andromeda one, because that trailer was something I got quite excited about.
So anyway, this is Mass Effect Andromeda. This is what happens after we decided to let Space Trump open up like a consulate for the Reapers in the last Mass Effect game, and they crushed all of human civilization. What are you really excited about for this, Sharps?
What I loved about this trailer is that it had that feel of space adventure again. All the other ones felt a little bit like too shiny. I still think these characters are a little bit too shiny for my taste, but maybe the character development is great. You never know. We'll see. But the other ones felt a little bit, I don't know, they didn't really have that adventurous feel. Like now you have the bad guy, which is popping up on the screen, and I think he looks pretty badass. It just feels like the more old school Mass Effects to me. It gives that space exploration feel for me, and that makes me like hyped up to play it.
I gotta say that I only played like a third, maybe a fourth of the way through
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 because my friends like, you can just skip one and go right to the good one. And so I did. And then I saw Mass Effect 3. Like, that was one of those movies where, or even just games, it kind of felt like a movie at times, just looking at all the
Hmm.
footage, where you didn't really have any way to affect the outcome. You had no path that you could go on. It's like everyone's gonna die and life is
Well,
terrible.
I would say that in the end, like you had plenty of choices that mattered at the moment you made the choices, but then at the end, that shitty ending just shat over some of the decisions. You were like, why the fuck did I even bother? This is not what the series is about. And then you're just hanging with a feeling like, who the fuck thought that three color schemes for an ending was a good idea, and simultaneously shitting on the Get what was the name again? The Get Quarian War was a good idea. Honestly, who thought that it was a good
I
idea?
mean, it reminded me a lot of BioShock Infinite, where no matter what choices you made, it all kind of ended the same way because that game ran so over budget and so over time for
Mhm.
development. They're just like, just give them something.
Yeah, that game had a bit of an irony in it, didn't it? Like it has this whole team of choices, multiple universes, and flipping a coin, and then the coin is always the same. You never have a choice to not flip the coin or whatever.
Yeah, like I don't know. That was always like the biggest cliche in a game. It's like in a game that you tell me is has infinite possibilities. If everything comes down to one choice, you need to hire a better writer.
Hmm.
Like that's
Yeah, but
just the biggest crap out in the universe. The biggest
I think
cliche.
I think that's the best way to describe it, because a lot of defenders are just like, but that's the point. They're showing you that the game is determined. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, I know the game is determined. They showed that in Undertale as well, and they did a lot more with it in the end.
Yeah, I didn't really like Undertale. But that's a question for another day because that'll get a shitstorm brewing. But
we could
no, like I
we
like
could
where
get
this
the
is going.
controversial talk going.
Yeah, I like where this game is going because basically the idea here is everything in the old galaxy is fucked. So we're trying to find a new home planet for our confederacy of aliens on this arc. We need to
Hmm.
find a new place where they can bone each other and restart our civilization. And turns out this new galaxy is full of buttholes and leftovers from ours, who are just like, I mean, everything's over. My generals are compatible with that green guy over there. It's fine.
Did you notice a couple of comments in the trailer, by the way, which were almost meme worthy to the original series? Like at some point, you see two characters kissing, and then they say, "This is exactly where we came for." And I was just like, "God, I'm already waiting for the YouTube poops from Machinima." Seriously.
It just reminds me of what was it, Saints Row or whatever,
Yeah.
where you could have sex with absolutely every character, including the Cyclops robot.
Was that Saints Row?
Was Saints Row the one with Gat Out of Hell for the series?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, that was
Saints
Saints
Row,
Row.
you could have sex with everybody. I had sex with the black guy. I had sex with the chick. I had sex with the nerdy guy, the nerdy girl. I had sex with the robot. I had sex with the giant cyclopean monster. It was great.
I
Um,
could do with it. I could do with another
but
Saints Row. I fucking love that series.
but yeah, this game looks good, and I love the technology and the attention to detail to say like we are only going to survive with the cutting edge stuff that we were creating just before we got blown up. Although the one thing I didn't like from that trailer was the fact that one of the trailers was you talk to this lady who's in charge of this station,
Hmm.
and she like immediately pulls guns or something weird. And I'm like, nobody who's got a history in any type of security or military career acts like that.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. No one just immediately walks up to you and puts a gun to your head when you're having a polite conversation when you didn't start shit. I don't know. I'm always really worried about new RPGs after Bethesda turned like these really long, funny conversations you could have in Fallout 3 and New Vegas into
Hmm.
say the good thing, say the bad thing, say something sarcastic, which is really a good thing. And you
Yeah.
can't be evil
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they go down the path and listen a little bit to the criticisms they got in the third game because I've played all three games and I love the first one, even though the gameplay was a little bit wonky at times and not that streamlined, maybe a little bit too deep for your casual player. The second one was just spot on for me, and I really hope they go down that path of your choices have at least some meaning, like that suicide mission in the end. I still think it's bloody brilliant for back then at that time. If I play it now again, it's pretty easy if you think about it. But back then, I was quite amazed to play that.
I mean, I'm just surprised that nobody has like started up the hashtag again, not my shepherd. Back when they
Was
first
that a
gave people
hashtag?
yeah, I guess they gave people the option to like make their shepherd female for the first time and everyone shit their pants. I'm like, why? What? Who
Wait,
cares?
wait. The first game had an option for
Did it?
female
I
shepherd,
just
right?
remember, I can't remember what caused it then because there was for a little while, there was the hashtag not my shepherd. Maybe it was
I'm gonna look it
because
up right now.
immediately
Keep
at
talking.
number two, like immediately on number two, like they kill Shepard and then they just bring him back for no reason. He could have just escaped out of life pod and been captured, but we'll bring him back from the dead for the hell of it. What happened in the Mass Effect 3 DLC? Did they like undo what happened?
Do you mean the extended cut one or just the other ones which were paid as well? Because I actually played all of them last
Whichever
month for the
ones
first
you
time.
played, because basically I'm thinking this was like EA picking up Dead Space and ruining Dead Space 3, where everybody dies at the end of Dead Space 3, but then in the DLC, they're like, wait, we just realized that we make a lot of money off this series. Let's make it so he's
Spoiler
not really
alert.
dead.
No, let me think. The extended cut DLC basically pandered to some of the wishes of the fans, but they still put their foot down and gave a big fuck you if you didn't want to make the last three choices. So if you shot the little space kid, you basically lost and the cycle continued. So
Wait,
there
I
was
could
like the
shoot a
big.
space kid?
Yeah, you
No
didn't
one
know
told.
that?
No, I didn't. I never played 3. I can shoot a child? I'm going to play that right now.
Yeah, it's not an actual child though. It's some bullshit AI which manifests itself as a kid, which Shepard saw before in his dreams because of traumas and bullshit. But yeah, you can shoot at that AI kid, and then he just goes like with a real deep demonic voice, "So be it," and then the cycle continues, and everyone's dead.
Huh. Why are
So,
the Reapers doing this in the first place? Why do they care?
so the reasoning behind it was, and it was also a little bit more explained in one of the paid DLCs called Leviathan, which is about the first civilization that was killed by the Reapers and created them in the first place. And the idea behind it was that the Leviathans knew about the idea that AI at some point would rise up against their creators inevitably. So they made the Catalyst, that stupid space kid that everyone hates, to come up with a solution for that. And his solution and wonky logic was basically to kill all organics so no uprising would happen.
What's wrong with the uprising? Everybody loves a good uprising.
Yeah, but the other question was how is killing your creators to stop an uprising not considered an uprising?
Yeah, how are the
Well,
Reapers not the like original poorly written uprising? Are they sure this AI just doesn't have a bunch of poorly coded bugs? Was it made by
yeah.
Hello Games? What's the next thing?
Let's see. Let's jump to Zelda Breath of the Wild
Oh,
with that with
I
that
have
great
actual
voice acting of the English actress when she cries as Zelda. Me.
oh shit, this is gonna be good because this Breath of the Wild is great in one way because I love Zelda games. I've played like all of them. even retroactively gone back and emulated some of the other game systems to play them. So this is the one that's going to be the last game that comes out for the Wii U, probably,
Hmm.
before they axe it in the back and waste everyone's time because that they shouldn't
Yeah,
have bothered with that console.
but it's releasing for both, right? For the Wii
Yes,
U and the
so this will be
Switch.
one of the launch titles for the Switch later this year. And this is basically Skyrim had sex with Zelda, and this
Looks
is
like it.
its slightly washed out color gradient version of that baby.
You know what bothered me? Some people on the internet were just like, I'll get it for the Wii U and get the Switch later. I was like, bitch, you have a Wii U? I've only seen comments of people saying they never bought a Wii U.
Yeah, I mean that kid is just salty he bought a Wii U and didn't wait for whatever was gonna have more power. And so this is interesting. I mean, it's the continuing saga. Like they basically just admit, like, hey, this is just a never-ending cycle in Hyrule, where we should probably just figure out if there's like a version of Raid plant spray that we can spritz on Ganon to make him go away forever. But until then, we just find a successive series of blonde kids with pointy ears to keep killing him.
I'm just imagining just one of those spray things with just water in it, which you used to get your cat off a desk or something, just pointing at it again, like, shh, shh, go away, go away.
So this looks really fun because this game is open world, and you've got a lot of open world, just kind of dicking around adventure that you can go on, much like Skyrim did. But my only problem with the trailer is if you really look at this trailer, and maybe you could stop it as we talk about this and like slowly edit in like a little bit more
Hmm?
contrast to it. Not this scene,
Yeah,
but like another scene where
I got my
you
finger on
can
the trigger, so
show
let me know.
yeah, where you can show people that if you look at the edges of this, everything kind of looks gray. All the shadows kind of look gray. So I'm
Right?
really concerned that this is going to get the Marvel treatment where they don't have white whites and they don't have black blacks, which is a big no-no in video and like visual media production. I don't know why everyone seems to be doing this lately. It bugs the
Right?
shit out of me.
Could you explain that a little bit more? Because people like me and probably some viewers as well don't exactly know what you mean.
Okay, so where you just stopped it, stop it here. So look at that mountain in the background. That
Yeah,
mountain is in shadow. Doesn't that shadow look kind of bluey gray? Like
yeah, he does.
that's supposed to just be black. That's not
Right.
black. That's bad. You, this is
Okay,
exactly what
right.
happened to the Marvel movies with like the Adventures or the Avengers. Did I say the Adventures? I think it's
Yeah, he did.
it's almost like I haven't finished my morning coffee yet. But so
Avenger time.
everything looks like it's kind of gray and washed out, which doesn't give it that vibrance that it really needs to pop and come alive.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, I get it.
So if you just throw some contrast on this video when you edit it, you can show people like what I'm talking about. But other than
Gotcha.
that little niggle about what is up with the trailer, like I'm excited for this game. Like I don't know, I'll try to find a friend of mine who's got a Switch to try and play this game. Maybe try to have him
Oh,
come
wait, wait,
over and
wait.
record it.
This is the moment I was talking about where Zelda starts talking. Because did you see the Japanese version as well?
Oh yeah, this is kind of cringy.
It's not bad or anything, but compared with the Japanese one, it's just so soft when she starts crying in his lap. Just like.
Yeah, it definitely shows that maybe this original trailer and the voice acting was a little bit rushed and they're still working on finishing the English localization. Oh,
That
that's
one
right.
sounded awesome, by the way. The rock dude, here it comes! I was like, yes, yes, more of that, please.
And also the fact that they kept the drag queen fairy, my favorite character that everyone hates from the series.
Fucking love it.
Oh, hello, Link. Oh, you're back. Oh, well, one version of you anyway. Would you like me to give you some fairy kisses on your rump? All right, fairy, we've talked about this. It's getting weird. Oh, come on. You come in here and I heal you all the time. Just do a favor for me one time, mister. I love these trailers, but it looks fun. It looks like there's a lot of good adventure to be had. It's just I am really unsold about the Switch is my only hang up. Like super
Hmm.
unsold.
Yeah, I kind of love this trailer, to be honest. It looked epic. The soundtrack gave me goosebumps, and I'm not really sold on the English voice acting, but the Japanese one almost gave me an anime-like feel with the voice acting. That one really sold me. It looked so good.
I'm almost I'm almost wondering if it wasn't better to just not voice act it again.
Hmm.
Cuz It's like voice acting like Snoopy or something, or Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. Like
Yeah.
every kid has their own version of what that voice should sound like. So putting a voice to it is making some choices for for like the audience that they've never done before. So I wonder
Hmm.
why the change.
Like voice acting in general, or the English one, you mean?
Just voice acting in general, because I don't know about the Japanese versions, but I know a lot of like the English versions of these games. There wasn't really voice acting. They just kind of had like guttural noises, like maybe Navi would be like "Look out," but that was it.
Yeah.
Like Princess Zelda didn't say words in like Ocarina or Majora's Mask, and like Link is just like yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm real curious about it, to be honest, because it might be something new that's actually awesome, give it even more epic, but it could also backfire completely because it's new and hasn't been done for 20 years in Zelda. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo's got like that Apple fanboy thing going on where that like their fans will probably buy their stuff so long as
Hmm.
it's not another Wii U.
Wii U, what's that? Is that like an add-on for the original Wii? I've heard that so many times. Actually, for real.
I heard it's when you duct tape your iPad to the Wii and then you see some sparks and the performance goes down and then you start playing around with the screen in your hand instead of on the TV.
And then you go to the upside down. Sorry, I've been watching Stranger Things, people. Um, we have one more thing to talk about today, which isn't actually a trailer, but I hope you guys can forgive us for that, because we're just gonna jump through the video here and there, not play the entire thing. Still pretty interesting though. There was 20 minutes of hands-on gameplay of Horizon Zero Dawn released online.
Yes, and I can't remember if this was one of the different games media outlets that was playing Horizon Zero Dawn and talking. It was one of their other members, so they were talking about it and giving him some shit for it. So basically, Horizon Zero Dawn is kind of an open world adventure game set in the post apocalyptic future where there's robot animals and people are surviving in and amongst that kind of mix and match.
Hmm.
So basically, the idea here is that there's some weird group of people. You don't really know who they are. They might be a cult. They might be some people left over from like before the calamity. And they have this weird hyper military technology that somehow has the ability to interface with the animal life and corrupt it and turn it evil. Whereas the people in the future have somehow found a way to live symbiotically between regular wildlife, robotic wildlife, and themselves.
Can I just say right here, just off the random, that I fucking love the main character. She reminds me so much of Ygritte from Game of Thrones.
She looks like a lot of fun, and I feel like a lot of games companies who haven't offered a good, strong female protagonist have really just been doing themselves a disservice because I don't care what people complain about online about, feminists getting more like ruining games. You can have a lot of fun with different female characters because there's a certain personality you don't get with a male character that you do with a woman going through like a similar experience.
No,
And there is
exactly.
there is a certain amount of tact that you have to go through to make a good female character because there are certain pieces of the female experience that you're not going to get as a man. Like being motherly is different than being fatherly, for example, or being
Right.
sisterly. It's a different experience. It's a subtle thing, but it's different. And
So I
so
found I found this to be an interesting thing. It's been said early in the trailer as well. Apparently, the game is going to be a proper RPG as well, and I didn't know that. I thought it was just going to be an open world exploration game or something.
I've been kind of dubious about this game. Like I'm really excited for it. I love the way it looks. It looks beautiful. Doesn't have that washed grayed out problem that I was talking about in Breath of the Wild, but
Hmm.
I was suspicious that it was going to be an open world adventure game in the way that Tomb Raider said it was, but wasn't. Where
Oh yeah,
where the game is actually linear, but you can teleport back to some of the other like parts of the game for no reason and go back
those
and
stupid campfires and
yeah,
gazillion collectibles nobody gives a fuck about.
yeah, so that like the 100% completionist people could claim that it was an open world game when it really wasn't. So I'm hoping that this is a meaningfully open world game because by the looks of the trailer, it looks like you start in this valley where you've been exiled because you're one of the people that's like really adept with technology and you're doing some weird heretical shit. And
Hmm.
then you have to leave to find the rest of what sinister stuff is going on. So to me, that says a certain aspect of linearity to the game. Maybe
Right.
that's just the starter zone. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting that. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks beautiful. And I really love that it looks like a combination of like the arrow bow mechanics from like Tomb Raider, where you have to use different attachments to your bow in order to take down different enemies with different weaknesses, and also like the dodge rolling and combat mechanics from, say, a Dark Souls game.
And a lot of crafting as well, because I think later in the video they showcase like how you can craft all these different arrows, make bigger quivers, a little bit like Far Cry, to be honest, or Assassin's Creed, even whatever you kind of think you can think of free roaming wise, open world.
I don't know, Sharps. What do you think about like too much crafting in these games? Like, do you think some games just don't need it? Like, I can feel like you could get some crafting in this game, like you did in Tomb Raider, because you need to like augment your arrows with fire pitch or something.
Hmm.
But there is such a thing as way too much, like you saw in like games like Recore, where it was just there because they're like, well,
Oh
RPG
God.
games have crafting.
It's funny that you mentioned that because that's one of the things I wrote down. This game feels like an actually satisfying record to me, like a future setting with robots or whatever. Because it has a kind of similar setting in that sense. I mean, this one is more that they look a little bit more primitive, you and your people, but it's basically the same idea that robotic sort of animals is what is in the future what you live with. But this one nails it a whole lot more so far for me, even just in the trailers and the gameplay.
Right. And I'm hoping that this has a really compelling story behind it. Cause that's you can have a really good story and a really crappy engine, and then that will kill it. And you could have a really great engine and a really meh story, and that'll kill it. And you could have a little of both, like
Yeah,
Recore.
I think you're hitting the nail on the head because Recore, I didn't get past like the first 3 hours. I didn't give a shit about the story.
You know, I thought about Recore as if it was baby's first action adventure semi platforming game.
Yeah.
But then again, I thought to myself, you know, we have great examples from Naughty Dog of really great, compelling, like kids games in the Jack and Daxter series. And Jack and
Hmm.
Daxter is one of those series that I intend to eventually play on this channel because that is
Ooh.
among the funnest games that I had growing up from my childhood, from PS2 into PS3. Like, that was a
Which develop
series that didn't stop delivering.
which developers Jack and Dexter again? Naughty Dog or Insomniac?
Yes, that was Naughty Dog.
Right. I always get those two mixed up because I played a couple of which one was from Insomniac again? Spyro was Insomniac, I think. That's the one I played.
Yeah, Insomniac does a lot of good games too. I've liked a lot of their stuff. Naughty Dog, it can sometimes be hit or miss. Like, they work on some stuff that just conceptually, I'm just like, I don't know.
Right.
Like,
But yeah.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I liked the idea of Last of Us, but like, you know, father daughter thing in the apocalypse when we're trying to save people. I don't know.
Yeah, Last of Us Part 2 is an old discussion, another discussion in itself. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna do with that. Even calling it Part 2 is kind of an idea, like it isn't a full sequel or whatever, or more like a small add-on follow-up. I don't know.
I have an idea for what's gonna happen in that game. It's not really what's gonna happen. It's funny, but we'll talk about that when we talk about that trailer.
That sounds good. But one thing I was thinking about, coming back to the point of this being a proper RPG, as they mention it. What do you think Guerrilla is gonna do RPG wise, and if they're gonna nail it? Because Guerrilla's track record is not a lot of RPGs. They're mostly just linear shooters like Killzone.
You know, that tells me that they have the shooting mechanics down, and then all they have to do is look at other RPGs to really nail those interactions and making that worth your time.
Hmm.
Whereas other game companies that do the opposite, like Bethesda, tend to go a little too heavy on the first person shooter side of things, like Fallout, like the new Fallout 4. And then they kind
Yeah,
of lose that really good RPG feel where the combat feels great. So you end up getting kind of bored and you just start shooting the shit out of everybody because there's no reason to talk to them because it's kind of boring.
because I wanted to talk about this about the machine. I call them machinimals. All these robotic animals, which I
That's a
freaking
good
love.
name for them.
And This one I fucking love. It reminded me so much of Shadow of the Colossus. I think this is the part where she's gonna climb into them. And I'm just wondering what you think about this as well. Like, do you think they're gonna implement more of that Shadow of the Colossus feel? Like, you have to climb into them and do
I
whatever?
would not doubt it because there's an interesting counterplay, almost like one of those post-apocalyptic anime movies, like the one where
Mm,
that kid turns into half a tree.
sure,
And
let's see if we can nail.
so like I feel like there's one part, the mystery of what the environment has evolved into, where you've got these colossal, almost mythical robotic creatures that you have to deal with. And I think she's probably gonna climb this to like make a phone call to like other tribe people. I wouldn't doubt that that's what they do. They use these to
That would.
like contact each other.
I mean, it sounds funny, but it also could work. Like it would actually be something that's cool in the universe.
I mean, this thing probably has better coverage than Verizon, so I mean, what's the problem, really? I'll take the post-apocalyptic robot animal world.
I just loved looking at this, man. This looks freaking awesome. One thing they kept telling it, by the way, as well, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm on the PlayStation YouTube channel. They were like, oh, this game looks great, but this is also going to be the best seller for the PS4 Pro. It will melt your face. Was one of the literal quotes. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, this is the
Will it
PlayStation channel.
though? Will it? Because nothing has really sold the PlayStation Pro or the Xbox One S.
Hmm.
Like they
Same.
both exist. Oh, it's a map or something.
Oh, that was
It's
it.
like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
radar dish, and now it's gonna explode because you're not an engineer.
Look at this. Look at this. Legolas would be proud of this.
Oh yeah, it's gonna pulse and give everyone cancer. I mean, that's what.
Sorry, tribe.
Yeah. Remember how bad it was to hold a cell phone up to your head all the time? Just wait till you have this pulsing in your ear for 3 days a week.
You'll have like an instant ear bleed.
But no, like I feel like this is gonna have one part like the mystery of what's going on in the now, and then another part mystery as to what was happening during the apocalyptic war that turned the world into what it is now. Like there
Hmm.
must have been some crazy offshoot scientists that like created whatever eventually would evolve into robot animals. And this must have some sort of tie-in, like story-wise, as to what they were doing until like an evil tribe decided to try and harness that to, I don't know, take over the world or just to get like a better deal at Costco. I don't know. But
I'm
it
really That makes me really curious though what you just said. Like, would they have been designed on an assembly line or something, and they're constantly being 3D printed, or were they designed in a way that they can reproduce mechanically? Like, what's going on here?
or did somebody just release like a bunch of military robots that just through their own AIs evolved over time, slowly changing themselves?
Yeah, and then created more of themselves. That would be a little bit more of the classic story, to be honest. I don't know if I would get behind that.
I don't know. I think whatever it's gonna be, they're gonna try to make it weird enough that you wouldn't necessarily expect it.
Right.
Because like sci-fi is old enough that a lot of people reuse the oldest tropes from like the dawn of sci-fi. So
Hmm.
you can kind of guess it. It's kind of like going back and reading the Foundation book series, and then like after not reading it and like being an adult, and you can kind of guess where it's all going because that was the dawn of sci-fi for
Yeah.
books. I don't know. I'm really excited for this. It looks gorgeous. Like that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have been looking at this because it's one of those games that's both a looker and a performer. So I hope
Yeah.
it doesn't get No Man's Sky to death.
That's what I wanted to say. Like, it looks gorgeous, it's intriguing in its looks, but it also looks like it would be really gorgeous to play and figure out what the hell's going on. And of course, we don't know a lot about it, but like the first pointers give you an idea that it's probably going to be something special. And like you said, it could end up as a No Man's Sky, but I don't think so, man. It's not. It hasn't been hyped up like a No Man's Sky, to be honest, for me.
Well, the people who make this game actually know how to make a shooter, for example. So at least they've
That
got
as
that
well.
part nailed.
Yeah.
And this isn't procedurally generated, so they're not trying to like break the bounds of procedural
Yeah.
generation.
I just wanted to say like that there are no dangerous buzzwords so far.
And I can
like
already see like
like
there's more
infinite game.
animal variety than No Man's Sky ever had.
Or ever will have probably.
I mean, somebody made like a 2D version of No Man's Sky that had more variety in it, and it only took them 48
Oh,
hours to make No
oh,
Mario Sky,
ouch,
so
ouch, ouch. Oh man, that you kind of need to feel bad for that Sean Murray guy at this point right now,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's never gonna go off of your track record.
especially because people like you, Sharps, made those just roasting little mini, like, honest trailers with Sean Murray.
An honest interview with Sean Murray. Sorry, man, I couldn't help myself.
I'll
Oh
I'll have
well.
to remember to link that at the end of this.
We'll certainly do that. I'll throw down the description as well. So yeah, I think we went through all the trailers we had on our list, and as mentioned, everything will be up in the description if you want to watch it yourself. If you've got anything else to say, Larry, I'll just do the doodly do to say goodbye.
Nope, that's it from me. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yep. If you want to see more Feed Me Pixels, I would suggest you to go to www.feedmepixels.com. Obligatory site reminder for Sly Copper. We also have a Discord, which will also be linked. We have a Twitch page, and we have a lot more video creators showing fun stuff on this video site as well on YouTube, such as Larry himself, such as me, such as the twins, such as Burley, such as Lulu. And we have more people planned in the future. We don't know who yet, but that'll be a surprise.
And if you want to join us in making awesome videos, you can submit an application on our awesome website. Join us. We
You
want
should
to see your awesome videos you make.
Exactly. You should do that. You could also just contact me or Larry personally first if you want to know more about Phoebe Pixels, that sort of thing, blah, 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 blah. If you don't want to sell your soul right away, that kind of thing. Anyhow, I was Papersharps.
And I'm Larry. Have a good one, everybody, and toodaloo.
Toodles.